Hi everybody, this is Kevin, a CPA that does financial planning, and today I'm going to talk about leaving pharma, leaving pharmaceuticals or other types of healthcare sales and marketing, and the most important launch of your life. So today I'm going to talk about my own journey from leaving pharmaceutical sales after 18 years of working in the industry and forming my own company. I've changed a name badge. I don't know if you could see this here for my own logo. Eventually getting into my own company. But so anyway, there's a lot of dynamics when you're in pharmaceuticals that I'm going to chat about, and a lot of folks understand that there's golden handcuffs in one way, because especially if you live in small towns around the United States, if you live in a small town. There's not a lot of jobs out there that pay 130, 150, 200,000, etc. in small towns. So many times if you want to make that kind of money, you would have to move to a bigger city. So there is a type of golden handcuffs that comes with pharmaceutical sales. My example is here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Again, there's just not a lot of jobs out there unless you're a physician or other type of professional where you can make the kind of money that you can make in healthcare sales. So the second thing is that maybe after a number of years, for me it was 18 years, maybe you want to do something else. And the third issue that I really think you need to take on, just in a way that's just very direct, is that you're making high pay and you and your family are used to a certain lifestyle. And there's not just a perceived risk of leaving, there's a real risk of leaving. And for us, for my family, Hattie and I, when we left pharmaceutical sales, I mean, I was working at it, she wasn't. It was something that the family had to deal with because we no longer were able to go out to dinner, and we had to change our lifestyle, which can be very, very difficult. And then the other part of it is, on the one hand, you get paid very well, but on the other hand, in most types of industries, there's downsizing, and it can happen at the snap of a finger. And so it's extraordinarily important to also be prepared in case one day you receive that phone call. So those are some of the huge issues that you have to deal with. Now, launching a product, okay, they call it the launch. There's a launch meeting. The effort that goes into a new product launch, okay? There's first of all planning by the home office. Next, there's budgets set. Nationally, there's budgets set by your local region, your district, and even probably yourself. How much money are you going to spend on the launch of a new pharmaceutical or healthcare product? There's a ton of planning that goes into it. And sometimes, if you've been in the industry for years, sometimes you're wondering, well, why are we planning so much for this launch? It's because when you do launch a new pharmaceutical or healthcare product, how the perceptions come out at the beginning has a lot to do with how well the drug or other healthcare product does over the long term. So you really need to get off to a good start. You target who are the folks that you're going to go after. You target the message. You work on the message. You look at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So these are all things that are part of a major launch of a new product. And you then, once you launch the product, you measure launch effectiveness and you change things on the fly. I remember a number of launches we had where you'd launch the product, things were going either well or not well, and then you would say, okay, what can we do better? And you'd meet constantly and reevaluate. And I put down here metrics. I mean, sometimes, again, we get sick of metrics, but we want to see how effective the launch is. So probably the most important launch, though, that you're going to have in your life is not the launch of a pharmaceutical product, but it's the launch of you leaving your career, either by choice or because you get downsized. And, some of the people that I work with that are in the pharmaceutical industry, they are planning for a second act. I personally planned for a second act. We built a war chest. And so, number one, I think the most important thing is to create a war chest. And what I mean by a war chest is if you're going to leave and do something different, you need some transition funds. And you need to decide on how many years worth of living costs do you want to have in case the new venture doesn't go well. The second thing is to improve your personal balance sheet. If you're going to launch your second act, which to me means you're going to continue to work in a different field, or if you're going to retire, your balance sheet is very important. So that's something that you should look at. That's something, by the way, that we would look at together. The planning for the launch of your second career or your leaving the industry. Planning, I just showed you the launch when you have a pharmaceutical. Most people don't plan to launch their retirement or launch their career the way that they plan on launching a pharmaceutical or a new healthcare product. And that's really important to plan. The fifth thing I have listed here is the transferable skills. So that's something that I've learned in doing financial planning now and investment management for clients, is that there are skills that can transfer. I mean, there's lots of fantastic skills in pharmaceuticals and healthcare sales and marketing. There's fantastic transferable skills. So to look at and take really to take a accounting of all the transferable skills you have and trying to decide what you want to do next. The next thing is creating a vision, okay? And I would suggest, creating a vision that's positive, but also what could go wrong. Because, myself, when I left pharmaceuticals, the first 2 years, I made almost no money. I had a vision. I felt like it was the right thing to do, but the first 2 years, I made almost no money. The third year, I went back to school to get a master's in accountancy and become a CPA. But again, have a vision, think about what could go wrong, discuss it as a family, and then keep track of launch of your leaving using metrics, okay? And again, that's where there's some wonderful software out there now to say and ask yourself, how am I doing with my new career? How am I doing with retirement? Did I create the right type of retirement income? How's our spending? Looking at all these metrics, and again, there are ways now to have your own personal metrics on how your family is doing. And then the feedback after the first year of launch, after the second year of launch. When you go into retirement or you go into a new profession, being able to get feedback on how things are going. And with what we do is we project a personal launch using scenarios, retirement scenarios, or scenarios that you can, make a few dollars doing something different in your second act, but looking at what's the potential for success. And again, this is 99%. This is very, very hard to get using, the goal-based software that we use. But you can at least see if it's 80%, you can understand that you might have to cut back on some things during that time period. So anyway, again, this is Kevin, a CPA that does financial planning. I'm happy to help those of you in the pharmaceutical and healthcare sales industry. If you're thinking about doing something else, I'd be more than happy to talk with you. Again, I've been there. I know some of the stresses that you may have, and I know some of the dynamics. So please reach out to me. And by the way, like this video. If you like it, pass it along to pharma friends, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you.